Is this true? Meghan Markle has ruined your workout regime. Is this true? If so, how?
Yes, she has.
How?
Well, she came into New York last weekend, and she went to a yoga place called Moto Yoga, which is my yoga place. It's where I always go. They have places in LA and New York, but now that she went there, everyone's going to want to go there, and there's not going to be any room. It's going to be harder to get into.
How close are you?
Just exceptionally close. They cram you in there, so you're sweating on each other. So now that it's more famous, I think Meghan Markle is, it's her big trip to New York.
Welcome back to Clout Therapy, the channel where Hollywood drama gets unpacked with no filter. Today we're diving into a rumor so petty it's hilarious. Did Meghan Markle actually ruin Alexandra Daddario's workout routine? I know, sounds like a joke, but Hollywood insiders swear there's more to it. And trust me, this story isn't just about yoga poses in gym time. It's about Meghan and Harry's shiny LA image starting to crumble, one roast at a time. From comedians dragging them on stage, to actors quietly shading them behind the scenes, to the one brutal punchline that reportedly ended their Hollywood honeymoon. It's messy, it's funny, and it might just prove that Tinseltown is officially over the royal rebels. If you live for celebrity chaos, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is Clout Therapy. So let's get into what people now call the yoga incident. Alexandra Daddario was sitting on the Late Late Show with James Corden, just telling stories, when James hit her with the question, "Is it true? Meghan Markle ruined your workout regime?" Alexandra instantly does that nervous laugh. You know, the kind where you're not sure if you should tell the truth or dodge it. Then she admits it. Meghan once showed up at her yoga studio in New York, Moto Yoga, and Alexandra's exact words were, "That's my yoga place. Now it's gonna be impossible to get into." That tiny line said everything. Because here's the deal. When Meghan walks in, she doesn't just walk in, she brings the entire circus with her. Paparazzi, superfans, and people who suddenly need to accidentally be in the same class. What was once a calm, candlelit studio for Alexandra turned into prime celebrity hunting ground overnight. Imagine going in to sweat out your stress, stretch in peace, and suddenly realizing, oh no, the paparazzi are waiting outside for someone else. That's the Meghan effect. One visit, and your sanctuary is gone. Even Hollywood stars like Alexandra, who's used to being in the spotlight herself, couldn't compete with the royal attention vacuum Meghan carries everywhere. And the irony? Alexandra wasn't mad at Meghan personally. She was just pointing out the chaos that follows. It's like, great, thanks Meghan, now my downward dog is a tabloid headline. And honestly, it's kind of funny, but also kind of sad, because it shows how Meghan doesn't just enter a room, she changes the room. Even celebrities, actual stars, lose their safe spaces the moment she shows up. For Alexandra, yoga went from being her quiet escape to a press conference with mats. And that's the whole joke James Corden was leaning into. Meghan Markle didn't just ruin a workout regime, she ruined a vibe. And in Hollywood, sometimes the vibe is everything. Now here's the thing. Alexandra wasn't roasting Meghan. She wasn't being shady or dramatic. It was casual honesty. That's why it landed so hard, because it didn't feel like some scripted late-night roast. It felt real. And when celebrities let their guard down like that, people pay attention. Alexandra was basically saying what a lot of Hollywood insiders whisper behind closed doors. Meghan has this way of making everything about her, even when she doesn't mean to. She shows up once, and suddenly the entire energy shifts. What was supposed to be a chill yoga class turns into Meghan's yoga class. That's why this moment mattered. It wasn't just a funny story about losing a workout spot. It was symbolic. It captured the bigger pattern. Meghan disrupts normal life wherever she goes, not just at the palace, not just in Montecito, even in random places like a New York yoga studio. Think about it. Alexandra is a star in her own right. She's used to cameras, she's used to fame, but even she admitted that the second Meghan walked in, her safe space was gone. That's the Meghan ripple effect. You don't just see it in yoga. You see it in Hollywood parties, in charity galas, in award shows. Anywhere Meghan steps, the spotlight follows, and suddenly, the room is about her. And maybe that's why people laughed so hard at this little exchange. It wasn't a cruel dig, but it rang true. It showed that Meghan and Harry aren't blending into Hollywood like they thought they would. They're standing out, and not always in the way they want. So this yoga story became more than a punchline. It became a metaphor for Meghan's entire Hollywood presence. Disruptive, unavoidable, and impossible to ignore. And here's why the yoga story really hits. It ties right into Meghan and Harry's privacy hypocrisy. They keep saying they want to live a normal, quiet life. Remember when they moved to California? We just want to be a normal couple, near Oprah. Totally believable, right? But everywhere they go, chaos follows. Paparazzi outside studios, Netflix cameras in their backyard, superfans chasing them down. It's the opposite of private. And Hollywood has caught on. Comedians, puppets, late-night hosts, everyone's roasting them for this contradiction, demanding privacy while turning every move into a spectacle. Even Harry once said he left the palace to escape Granny's rules. The joke now? He didn't escape the Queen. He just traded her in for Meghan's stricter rules. That's why Alexandra's yoga comment stung. It was casual proof that Meghan and Harry don't bring peace. They bring drama, even when they're just trying to stretch. The real turning point for Meghan and Harry wasn't an interview, or a documentary, or even a royal scandal. It was when Hollywood itself started laughing at them. And once the joke started, they didn't stop. First up, Jimmy Carr. He's known for being savage, but this one cut deep. He took aim at Meghan calling herself a lifelong feminist, then pointed out the irony. She gave up her acting career, her independence, everything she preached, just to marry a prince. The audience erupted because it wasn't just funny, it was true. Then came Joe Koy at the Golden Globes. Live TV, massive audience, and he roasted them by comparing The Crown to Harry and Meghan. He basically said one was prestige television and the other a glorified reality show. The whole room cracked up and the cameras even cut to celebrities laughing a little too hard. That was a public gut punch. And if that wasn't enough, Saturday Night Live piled on. They did a skit where Britain tries to trade Harry and Meghan back, like unwanted players in a sports draft. It was harsh, but the crowd loved it. And here's why this matters. Late night TV, award shows, and SNL, that's Hollywood's inner circle. If they're roasting you, it means you're no longer being protected. You're not the golden couple anymore. You're entertainment. The laughter became the industry's stamp of rejection. Because in Hollywood, being ignored is bad, but being the joke, that's worse. That was the moment Meghan and Harry stopped being seen as powerful outsiders and started being treated like punchlines. And once that switch flips in LA, it almost never flips back. Their Netflix documentary was supposed to be the big redemption story. This was the moment Meghan and Harry could finally control the narrative, tell their truth, and maybe even win back some sympathy. Instead, it backfired badly. The whole thing came off as self-pitying and tone-deaf. People rolled their eyes at the way they called each other M and H, like they were trying to brand themselves as some rom-com couple. Even Stephen Colbert couldn't resist mocking that, turning it into a late-night punchline. Then there was Harry's infamous line, "How do you explain curtsying to your grandmother?" Like, really? She's not just grandma, she's the Queen of England. Nobody needed an explanation. You bow, you curtsy, end of story. And don't even get started on the security complaints. Watching two millionaires whine about safety while sitting in a $14 million Montecito mansion just didn't land the way they thought it would. Instead of creating empathy, it created distance. Viewers didn't feel sorry for them, they felt annoyed by them. The big docuseries that was meant to save their image ended up cementing them as out of touch. Hollywood royalty who didn't understand why no one else was buying the fairy tale. And that disaster gave comedians the jackpot. Every single episode of the Netflix show handed out new punchlines like candy. Suddenly, late-night TV, stand-up clubs, podcasts, even TikTok creators were tearing the series apart line by line. One joke that really stuck was, "Before I watched it, I didn't like them. After watching it, I hate them." And the thing is, people laughed because they agreed. That was the vibe everywhere. The show didn't humanize them, it turned them into characters in a never-ending sketch. Comedians basically became royal historians overnight, studying every cringe moment just to roast it. Meghan crying about press headlines? Punchline. Harry confused about bowing to his grandmother? Punchline. Complaining about safety while living like billionaires? The biggest punchline of all. Their mistakes weren't just mocked once, they kept getting recycled. Weeks later, months later, the jokes were still landing. And that's how you know it's bad. In Hollywood, the minute your drama turns into a comedy gold rush, you've lost the room. Meghan and Harry weren't taken seriously anymore. They became entertainment, and not in the way they wanted. But the final nail in the coffin came from someone most people expected to defend them: Bill Maher. He's usually the guy who'll side with celebrities when the tabloids pile on. But even he had enough. On his show, Maher cut through the noise and said what everyone was thinking. You can't say you don't want attention and then write a book about how much you don't want attention. The audience laughed, but it wasn't just a joke. It was a reality check. Because Meghan and Harry's whole brand was built on that contradiction, running from the spotlight while cashing in on it at the same time. And Maher didn't stop there. He gave them advice straight out of the royal playbook. Take a hint from the Queen, never complain, never explain. That's the old school code of survival in both politics and Hollywood. Keep your dignity, stay mysterious, don't whine. And by pointing out that Meghan and Harry were doing the exact opposite, Maher flipped the script. If even Bill Maher, a man who thrives on defending drama, is calling you ridiculous, you're done. That was the cultural tipping point. It wasn't just the tabloids or the comedians or the insiders anymore. It was the mainstream saying, Meghan and Harry are no longer victims, no longer icons. They're the cautionary tale. So what does this all mean? Alexandra Daddario's yoga comment might have seemed like a throwaway laugh on a late-night couch, but it revealed something much bigger. That little story was a microcosm of the Meghan and Harry problem. Wherever they go, disruption follows. Not because they're trying to cause chaos. Meghan didn't set out to ruin Alexandra's workout, but it always circles back to them. Their presence shifts the energy, sucks up the attention, and suddenly what used to feel normal becomes all about Meghan and Harry. That's the pattern. That's the Meghan effect. And it's not just yoga studios, it's Hollywood parties, it's red carpets, it's charity events. Every space they enter stops being about the room and starts being about them. And here's the core issue. They mistake attention for affection. Just because cameras are pointed at you doesn't mean people actually like you. They confuse visibility with love, headlines with respect, paparazzi with popularity. But America doesn't work like that. America doesn't care about royalty the way the UK does. Over there, the titles and the crown carry centuries of weight. Over here, you're just another celebrity. And in the US, the worst thing that can happen isn't hate, it's indifference. Because once people stop talking, stop laughing, stop roasting, you're irrelevant. And if Meghan and Harry can't adapt to that reality, their entire brand could quietly disappear. So let's pull it all together. It started with Alexandra Daddario joking that her yoga sanctuary got wrecked the moment Meghan showed up. A funny, innocent little comment, but one that symbolized a bigger truth. Then Hollywood took the gloves off. The roasts piled up. Jimmy Carr, Joe Koy, SNL, all turning Meghan and Harry into punchlines. Their Netflix doc, instead of saving them, backfired spectacularly. Cringe moments handed out like candy for comedians to feast on. And finally, Bill Maher, of all people, gave the reality check they couldn't ignore. Stop chasing attention while pretending you don't want it. So now the question hangs in the air. Is this the final chapter of Meghan and Harry's relevance? Have they officially gone from power couple to punchline? Or will they somehow find a new way to claw back the spotlight, even if it means reinventing themselves again? Because if Hollywood has decided they're done, that might be the one stage Meghan and Harry can't conquer. But I want to know what you think. Is this the beginning of the end, or just another messy chapter in the saga? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you live for Hollywood gossip breakdowns, the drama, the shade, the comedy, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because here at Clout Therapy, the scandals don't stop and the tea never cools.